from the romantic perspective, we will date our wounds until we heal them. So what does that mean? Think of it this way. We know from quantum physics that everything is energy, and everything is made up of energetic particles that has a frequency and a vibration. And frequencies connect through resonance. So if you have a frequency of resentment or hurt or fear and anxiety around love and romantic relationships, you will be attracted and find resonance with a person who has a similar frequency within themselves that will bring the connection. So Quinton, you know, I always talk about the neon arrows.
That's once in Vegas.
If you think of lights and those arrows that you see in movies, that's flashing lights and colorful, that's pointing to something so that you can't miss it. Attraction is kind of like that. If you walk into a room and there are 20 people in the room and you have this pull towards someone, this physical attraction, and then this deep connection through conversation with that person, it's like life pointing a neon arrow to that person so that you engage with them as opposed to the 19 other people in the room. So I think, Quinton, can you explain to us a little bit more about how does the connection through wounding work?
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love what you say because it's so exactly so true. We all want to have a connection, but we find a connection through resonance. And therefore, in woundedness, there's a lot of resonance. And that's why we can actually relate to someone else, because they also have the same wound that we have actually experienced in our lives. So, for example, let me use an example of two people is going through divorce. And that's quite an intense process. You know, sometimes we just feel we need a bit of support going through all of this.
Absolutely.
So when these two people meet, it gives a sense of resonance, relatedness, connectedness. And automatically it has a possibility of two people bond. So what we actually call that in psychology, we call it actually trauma bonding, because you actually bond with one another and connect with one another actually through your own woundings.
Through your pain.
Through your pain. The pain, yes. Yeah. So the pain many times creates that bond. So we can bond through pain.
But our minds can play tricks on us. We can deceive ourselves effortlessly. So Quinton, help us understand how our minds work in this context.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, because the mind is actually just a place where thoughts occur. And we are creatures of patterns and habits. So now we get someone which is quite significant in our life. And by having this person significant, especially after a traumatic event, automatically that creates certain thought patterns. And now that thought patterns creates a pattern. And now that becomes like the subconscious program. And then the scary part is many times people think, I just want to get out of this relationship. And then I feel like, I'm so relieved I'm out of it. And then they go actually into the next relationship. And because they never shifted the core pattern, what we see is they actually maybe date someone else, but the experience is actually the same.
So same movie, different actors, but it's the same story.
Most definitely. And that's part of the challenge. So it's like there's also an example of a woman who gets abused. And then we see this quite often. Any person who gets abused, they go from one relationship and then they're not usually willing to do the work. And then I think, at least I get out of this relationship. And then they go into the next relationship just to get abused again. And every time they go, it's like they actually choose to stay longer, because later on they believe this is what I deserve. This is my worth.
That's another pattern a program that starts running in our head.
Helps you to see the thought forms and the subconscious program and the patterns in your life you all keep repeating, because what you can see, you can change. It's difficult to heal from something if you do not know what you need to heal from.
I think another important point is that, as we said, everything is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed or created, but it can be transformed and transmuted. So these attractions and soul tie entanglements actually gives us the opportunity to release that energy that's trapped in that soul tie and transform it, transmute it, transform the hurt, transform the wounding, heal that, release that energy, and then integrate those parts of yourself, those parts that's been hurt, denied, ostracized, can be reintegrated so that you can become your whole self, your authentic self. Bring that into life. And I think that's actually the whole ultimate purpose of the healing process, is for us to become our full authentic selves. But yes, that is a process.
Do you feel unlucky in love, repeating the same hurtful relationships over and over?
Do you feel like dating the same person, just in a different body?
Yes, different actors, same movie, over and over. If that's the case, you might be stuck in what we call a love loop addiction.
We as human beings, we are creatures of patterns and habits, and underneath those are our wounds.
So in love, these repeating patterns look like loops of craving and experiencing the joy of love, followed by the pain and hurt of losing love, which makes us crave love even more. So what do? We go onto dating sites, we put ourselves out there, desperately looking for love, and definitely not giving up on love. But it's a vicious cycle of pleasure and pain, repeating over and over.
Exactly, Ilze. This is the same as any addiction, where you seek the hit and rush of love, then plummet into despair when losing it afterwards.
For our listeners out there, does this sound familiar? Has anyone experienced this before, where you feel like you're just repeating the same hurtful relationship over and over and not being able to get out of that pattern? As Quinton mentioned, we need to know our wounds to break the cycle. And we've got something very special for you. It's called the Love Loop Addiction Quiz. Click on the link in the pinned comment below and do the quiz today to discover what is your love loop addiction.
Don't wait. Break the vicious cycle and set yourself free to start healing today.